topic today: how to replace brake discs and brake pads in a Renault Megane Scenic RX4. Hi, welcome to my new video. Today I'll show you how to replace brake discs and pads on the Renault Scenic Megane RX4. What tools are needed, I'll show you during the video. Okay, let's go. First, I secure the vehicle with two wedges. I put one under the front and the other behind. And now I open the wheel bolts crosswise. First, I open the screws with a quarter turn, and then I remove the screws with an impact wrench. First, I lift the vehicle with the jack until the wheel is in the air and can be moved by hand. I recommend anyone who often repairs vehicles to buy an impact wrench because it saves a lot of time. Here is a tip from me: if a wheel is rusted on the wheel hub, what can I do? Quite simply, I'll show you a little trick now. I turn out the screws crosswise, each about 4 to 5 turns out. Danger: please do not unscrew the screws too far, otherwise the vehicle may fall down. Now I drive the vehicle slowly backwards, and drive at walking pace in serpentine lines a few meters, so that the wheel can detach from the hub. Danger: please never do this on a public street. Risk of injury to you and other road users. And now I shake the wheel to see if the wheel could come loose. As we can see and hear, the wheel has come off. Now I pick up the vehicle and remove the wheel. Do not forget to put the wedges under the wheels again. Next, I spray some rust remover on the two centering screws. After about 15 minutes, I only open the centering screws a little, because I first have to remove the caliper. For better access to the caliper bolt, I turn the steering wheel completely to the right side. Here are the two sliding bolts. And now I clean the two screw heads with the wire brush. Then I spray some rust remover on the screw heads, and let the rust remover for about 10 minutes act. And now I remove the caliper with a 13mm nut and a 17mm fork wrench. A little tip from me, use a container for all removed screws, so that no screw is lost, and the assembly is easier. I remove the caliper now. If the caliper cannot be removed manually, a hammer can be used. Important note: the caliper holes must not be damaged, and that's why I take some wire and fix the caliper to the top of the shock. On the brake disc is still the caliper slide, which I now clean with the wire brush. Now I spray some rust remover on the 2 bolts of the caliper slide and leave that about again to act for 15 minutes. Now I open the 2 bolts with an extended ratchet and an 18mm nut. And now I remove the sledge with the old brake pads. Then I pull the old coverings from the sledge. And now I remove the 2 centering screws. Attention! Most brake discs have only 1 screw, but there are also models that have 2 screws. Now I pull down the brake disc. And now I clean the wheel hub with a wire brush. Optionally, sandpaper can also be used. Then use the air pistol to clear the wheel hub of dust and rust. Now I put some ceramic paste on the support of the hub. Attention! Risk of death. The ceramic paste must never penetrate into the threaded holes, as otherwise the bolts of the wheel could come loose. And now I insert the new brake disc and fix it with the 2 centering screws. Please always observe the torque specified by the manufacturer. Since the factory always lubricates the brake discs so that they are protected by corrosion, the discs must always be cleaned first with brake cleaner. If necessary, apply ceramic paste again. Now I clean the caliper slide with a wire brush. Because this Renault RX4 has no brake wear indicator, I cut off the cable. Danger! Please first make sure that your RX4 has the Verschlissens AI or not. Then I put the new brake pads in the slide, and put together on the new brake disc. Now I fix again the slide with the 2 18mm bolts, and also here I observe the torques prescribed by the manufacturer. Next, I release the caliper from the shock and clean it with the wire brush as well. Again, the dust and dirt particles might remove the air gun. And now I remove the cover of the brake fluid reservoir. I just leave the lid on top. Since the piston has been extended to maximum due to worn brake linings, the piston must be moved back with the brake piston return. Danger. When returning, make sure that the piston is not driven too far, otherwise it will jam and be damaged. As we can see, the piston is driven clockwise back into the housing. Attention! When turning back, make sure that the rubber cuff is not damaged. That's how it looks. Again, clean the caliper with the air gun. Important note: when working on the brake system, I recommend wearing a breathing mask so that the toxic particles are not inhaled. Brake pads and gaskets almost always contain asbestos, which is very toxic. Now I put the caliper on the sled. Then I put back the two 13mm screws. To connect the saddle with the slide again, I use the 17mm fork wrench and the 13mm nut. Again, please observe the torque specified by the manufacturer. Now I turn the steering wheel back to the middle position so that I can mount the wheel again. First, I turn the bolts in by hand, then with the impact wrench. Finally, the wheel must be tightened with the torque wrench with the prescribed torques. Now I turn the lid of the brake fluid reservoir again. Do not forget to remove the wire from the shock absorber. The vehicle can be lowered. Finally, the wheel must be tightened with the torque wrench with the prescribed torques. Please note that the wheel bolts must be retightened after 50 kilometers. Okay guys, we made it, we're done. That was the brake discs and brake pads replacement on the front axle on a Renault Megane Scenic RX4. If you want, you can watch the video on the top right for the rear axle. I thank you for watching, and wish you much success. Disclaimer: I give no guarantee for the correctness and completeness of the work shown. Please ask a licensed mechanic before attempting to repair on your own. Please always observe the legal safety instructions to avoid injury. Many thanks. Goodbye.